All right, quick lesson here on multiplying and dividing inequalities, Chapter 2, Section 3. Okay, when you multiply or divide each side of an inequality by the same positive number, you get an equivalent inequality. Okay, so for example, if we have, and there we go. If I have -6, which is less than 8, I can multiply each side by 2, right? Multiply this times 2, multiply this times 2, then I get -12, and that is still less than 16. Or, let's say 6 is greater than -8. If I divide each of these sides by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2, I get 3. 3 is still greater than -4. Okay, so basically the same as solving an equation. All right, here's a couple examples: solve and graph. All right, we're going to take this and we're going to multiply each side times 8 because x is being divided by 8. That cancels out. Then I get x is greater than -40. In order to graph that, make yourself a number line, put -40 in the middle. Now remember, when we're in the negatives, the larger absolute value is to the left. All right, and this is going to be an open circle because -40 is not included. X is greater than -40, so we're going in this direction. All right, to solve this one, I have to divide by 3 on each side. Divide by 3, that gives me -8 is greater than or equal to x. Graph that on a number line. We put -8 in the middle, -9 to the left of it. Please pay attention to that. This is a closed circle, and I would rewrite this, say x, it's pointing to the x, is less than or equal to -8. If you rewrite it like this, you can follow the direction of the arrow, and we can check that, plug in -9. -9 is indeed less than -8. All right, now, if you're multiplying or dividing by negative numbers, warning, warning, please mark this. Warning, this is the one time when solving an inequality is different from solving an equation. Flip the sign. All right, reason being, here's an example. If you have -3 is greater than, let's start with 3. 3 is greater than -2. If I multiply each of these sides by -1 times -1 times -1, that gives me -3, and over here that gives me +2. Well, which one is greater? +2 is greater, so I'd have to flip the sign, right? Okay, so if you're multiplying or dividing by a negative, flip the sign. So here, multiply, warning, warning, negative, multiply by -3, and that gives me -6. Flip that sign, is greater than y. Okay, over here, we're dividing by -7, dividing by a negative, warning, warning. All right, negatives cancels out, flip that sign. Y is greater than or equal to 5. All right. And finally, let's have a look at a word problem. You earn $9.50 per hour at your summer job. Write and solve an inequality that represents the number of hours you need to work to buy a digital camera that costs $247. So in order to buy that, you're going to need at least $247, right? You need that much or more. So how much you make has to be, there's 247. What you make has to be greater than or equal to 247. So you make $9.50 an hour, so $9.50 per hour, so times h is 247. So in order to solve that, we're going to divide by $9.50 on each side. divide by 950, and that cancels out. The number of hours is greater than or equal to 26. So you need to work at least 26 hours. And that is all for today, ladies and gents. Check in next time for another fun lesson with the Mastermind.